The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. 1. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. Imagine waking up one day and feeling absolute certainty about the meaning of your existence. No longer questioning why you're here, no longer searching aimlessly for purpose, but simply knowing. Knowing, with every fiber of your being, the answer to life's greatest question: why do we exist? This was the experience of Viktor Frankl, a man who, despite enduring unimaginable suffering, found a profound understanding of life's purpose. His journey didn't start in peace, but in the heart of one of the most horrific chapters of human history, a Nazi concentration camp. In 1942, Frankl, a psychiatrist and neurologist, was deported to a concentration camp. His world, as he knew it, was torn apart in an instant, his family, his career, his identity all lost. He was reduced to a mere number, stripped of everything except his ability to think, feel, and choose how he responded to his circumstances. But it was here, in the depths of despair, that Frankl made his life-changing discovery. He realized that even in the most unbearable situations, one thing remained: the ability to choose our response. Frankl came to understand that no matter how cruel or unjust life became, we still have the power to choose how we react. This freedom, this ability to choose, is something that no one can ever take away from us. Frankl's revelation wasn't just philosophical, it was practical. He observed that those who survived the concentration camps were not necessarily the strongest or the most capable, but those who had a purpose to live for. Whether it was a loved one they dreamed of reuniting with, or a sense of unfinished work they wanted to complete, these were the people who found a reason to keep going, even when every external condition tried to break them. Now, pause and think about your own life. What keeps you going during tough times? Do you find strength and purpose, or do you feel adrift, searching for meaning? Frankl's discovery reminds us that meaning is something we create. It's not handed to us by life circumstances. It's born in how we choose to respond. As we continue through this journey, we'll see how Frankl's insights provide a roadmap for living a meaningful life, even in the face of suffering and adversity. 2. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to glide through life with unwavering purpose, while others feel lost, adrift in a sea of uncertainty? Viktor Frankl's life was shaped by this very question. But his search for meaning didn't begin in comfortable circumstances. It began in a Nazi concentration camp, where survival was far from certain. Frankl observed that while some of the most physically strong people perished in the camps, others who appeared weaker somehow managed to survive. What made the difference? Frankl came to realize that it wasn't strength, but meaning that determined who survived and who didn't. Those who survived were often the ones who had something to live for, something that gave them purpose beyond the unbearable conditions they faced. For some, it was the dream of reuniting with a loved one. For others, it was the hope of completing an unfinished task or making a contribution to the world that gave them the strength to keep going. Frankl himself clung to the memory of his wife, holding on to the idea that he would see her again. He didn't know if she was still alive, but that dream was enough to keep him going. This insight, the power of meaning, became the foundation of Frankl's philosophy. He understood that the human spirit can endure almost any suffering, as long as it has a sense of meaning and purpose. Without that, despair sets in, and survival becomes nearly impossible. Think about your own life. What keeps you going when things get tough? Is there something or someone that helps you endure hardships? Frankl's discovery teaches us that we can create our own sense of meaning, even in the most difficult circumstances. The key is to look beyond the immediate pain and find something greater to live for. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into how Frankl's 3 paths to meaning, work, love, and suffering, can help us navigate life's challenges with purpose. Because meaning is not something we passively discover, it's something we actively create. 3. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. Viktor Frankl's insights into the human spirit didn't stop at understanding the power of meaning. He went on to explore how we can actively create meaning in our lives, even in the face of suffering. His philosophy revolves around 3 key paths: work, love, and suffering. These three paths, Frankl believed, are the cornerstones of a meaningful life. Let's begin with the first path, work. But Frankl didn't mean just any work. He wasn't referring to our day-to-day tasks or careers. Instead, he spoke of work that has a purpose beyond our own survival. It's work that contributes to the world in a meaningful way, something that connects us to others or leaves a lasting impact. Frankl observed that those who had a mission, whether it was a project they dreamed of completing or a goal they felt passionate about, were much more likely to survive the horrors of the camp. The people who had a purpose to live for, something to do or to finish, found strength in it. Think about your own work. What is it that you do that goes beyond just paying the bills or fulfilling a daily routine? Maybe it's a creative project, helping others, or striving toward a personal goal. Work that is connected to your deeper values can give you purpose and strength, especially in challenging times. Next comes love, the second path to meaning. Frankl's own experience in the concentration camp illustrated this power. Even though he didn't know whether his wife was alive, the memory of their love and the hope of reuniting with her kept him going. For Frankl, love was not just romantic, it was the deep connection we feel to others, the understanding that we are not alone in this world. Love gives us a reason to endure. It reminds us that our suffering has meaning when we share it with others, when we give of ourselves. In the next part, we will explore the third and most difficult path, suffering, and how, paradoxically, it can also lead to meaning. Because, as Frankl discovered, the key to surviving life's darkest moments isn't avoiding pain, but finding a way to make it meaningful. 4. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. In the face of suffering, Viktor Frankl's philosophy found its most profound application. The third path to meaning, suffering, may seem counterintuitive at first. After all, who would willingly seek pain or hardship? Yet Frankl's profound insight was that while we cannot always avoid suffering, we can choose how we respond to it. It is in this choice, Frankl argued, that meaning is forged. Frankl wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." This idea became the cornerstone of his philosophy on suffering. He didn't suggest that we should seek out pain or glorify it. Rather, he believed that even in the most unbearable circumstances, we have the power to transform suffering into something meaningful. This insight was born from Frankl's own experience. As he endured the horrors of the concentration camp, he witnessed countless moments of suffering. But he also saw moments of extraordinary resilience. Some prisoners chose to hold on to their dignity, even when everything else had been taken from them. Others found solace in helping fellow prisoners, offering a smile or a kind word in the midst of their own torment. For Frankl, these acts of courage were not just survival tactics, they were meaningful acts that gave their lives purpose, even in the most dire of circumstances. Now, reflect on your own life. When you face hardship, how do you respond? Do you see your struggles as pointless, or do you look for meaning within them? Frankl's philosophy teaches us that suffering, though unavoidable, is not the end. It is, in fact, an opportunity. An opportunity to transform pain into growth, loss into wisdom, and despair into hope. In the next part, we'll uncover why so many people still feel lost, even when meaning is within reach. What prevents us from embracing responsibility and taking control of our own meaning? The answer lies in our fear of responsibility. And that fear may be the most significant obstacle to living a meaningful life. 5. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. Viktor Frankl's discovery of meaning did not end with his understanding of suffering. In fact, one of the most profound insights he had was about responsibility, a theme that runs deeply through his work. Frankl believed that meaning is something we create, not something we passively discover. And to create meaning, we must embrace responsibility. But here's the catch: many of us avoid it. Why? Because taking responsibility for our lives is terrifying. Frankl realized that most people are afraid of responsibility, even when meaning is within reach. This fear isn't just about the weight of our actions, it's about the fear of confronting the truth that we are the ones who create our own lives. In a world full of distractions and noise, It's easier to blame circumstances, to point fingers, or to stay in the comfort of avoiding personal accountability. But Frankl's message is clear: we cannot live a meaningful life without taking full responsibility for it. The modern world often encourages us to seek happiness without considering its deeper connection to meaning. Frankl argued that happiness cannot be pursued directly. It is a byproduct of living a meaningful life. We cannot simply chase happiness and expect it to come to us. Happiness ensues when we dedicate ourselves to something greater than ourselves. It arises naturally when we engage fully in our work, our relationships, and our capacity to transform suffering into meaning. So, what does this mean for you? Frankl's insights challenge us to take a step back and evaluate how we live. Are we actively creating meaning in our lives, or are we passively waiting for something to give it to us? Are we avoiding responsibility because we fear the weight of it? Or are we ready to embrace it, knowing that by doing so, we will begin to shape a life full of purpose? In the next part, we will explore why so many people feel lost, even when meaning is within their grasp. What stops us from taking responsibility? The answer lies in the fear of meaning itself. And once we understand this fear, we will see how it is the key to unlocking our true potential. 6. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. So far, we've explored how Viktor Frankl's discovery of meaning in suffering and responsibility forms the foundation of his philosophy. But one of the most powerful aspects of his teachings is the realization that meaning is not fixed. It is not something we find once and hold on to forever. Meaning is a living, breathing force that must be created again and again in each moment of our lives. Frankl understood this truth deeply. After surviving the concentration camps, after losing everything he once held dear, he could have chosen peace, comfort, and stability. He could have believed that, having endured so much, he had earned a life of rest. But Frankl did not stop. He continued to work, to write, to teach, and to help others find meaning in their own suffering. He knew that meaning is not something we achieve, and then possess it is something we must renew with every choice we make. This realization is crucial. Many of us live with the misconception that meaning is something we eventually find, as if it were a treasure buried deep within us. But the truth is, meaning is something we must create. Every day, with every decision, we choose the meaning we will give to our lives. Whether it's in our work, our relationships, or our struggles, we have the power to shape the purpose of our existence. Reflect on this for a moment. What if you stopped waiting for meaning to find you? What if you began creating it in the smallest actions, the quiet moments, and the difficult decisions you make each day? It's easy to look at life and think that meaning is something grand, something extraordinary. But in reality, meaning is built in the everyday choices we make. The way we respond to others, the way we show up for ourselves, the way we handle our pain, these are all ways we create meaning. In the next part, we'll explore why so many of us continue to feel lost, even when meaning is right in front of us. It's not that we don't have the ability to find meaning, it's that we fail to take full responsibility for creating it. The fear of meaning and responsibility is often what keeps us from stepping into our true potential. 7. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. As we've seen, Viktor Frankl's philosophy of meaning challenges us to take responsibility for creating purpose in our lives, rather than passively waiting for it to appear. But even with this knowledge, many of us still struggle to embrace it fully. Why is it so hard to take responsibility for meaning? The answer lies in a deep and often unspoken fear, the fear of living with meaning. We live in a world that constantly distracts us. There's always something pulling our attention away: social media, entertainment, daily routines. These distractions numb us to the deeper question: what am I truly doing with my life? The fear of confronting this question can be paralyzing. If we ask ourselves what truly matters, we might have to face the uncomfortable truth that we are not living in alignment with our true purpose. This fear is not new. It is part of the human condition. Frankl witnessed it firsthand. Even in the concentration camps, he observed that some prisoners struggled with the idea of living with meaning. They were so consumed by despair that they couldn't see any hope for the future. But those who were able to find a sense of meaning, even in the most horrific circumstances, were the ones who survived. What does it mean to live with meaning? It means that we must take ownership of our lives. We must acknowledge that our actions, no matter how small, have the power to shape the direction of our existence. It's not about waiting for life to hand us meaning. It's about actively creating it through the choices we make each day. It's about showing up for ourselves and for others, even when it's difficult. Frankl's philosophy teaches us that we cannot escape pain or hardship, but we can find meaning within them. Suffering is inevitable. But when we face suffering with the mindset of creating meaning, we transform pain into growth. It's not the pain itself that defines us, it's how we respond to it. In the next part, we'll uncover why so many people continue to feel lost, even when they have the ability to create meaning. The key lies in understanding our fear of meaning and responsibility. Once we confront this fear, we unlock the power to live a life that is truly meaningful. 8. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. As we continue to unravel Viktor Frankl's insights into meaning, we arrive at a pivotal realization. The fear of meaning, the fear of responsibility, is not the only obstacle we face in our journey toward a purposeful life. There's a deeper question that we must confront. Frankl understood this dilemma all too well. Even with the tools to create meaning, many people still feel lost. They search, they strive, but meaning continues to elude them. Why does this happen, especially when Frankl's teachings suggest that meaning is always available? The truth is, meaning isn't something that is immediately clear, it's something that evolves. And this process requires patience, courage, and a willingness to confront our deepest fears and insecurities. One of the most powerful aspects of Frankl's philosophy is that meaning is not a one-time discovery. It is a continual process, shaped by the choices we make every day. This is where many people falter. They believe that once they find meaning, it will stay with them forever. But meaning is not fixed. It's fluid. It grows and changes as we grow and change. What Frankl teaches us is that meaning isn't something external to us that we can simply find. It's something we actively create through our actions, our relationships, and our responses to suffering. Meaning is not handed to us, we must reach for it. And this process of reaching, of creating meaning, is ongoing. It requires that we live with intention, with an awareness of our choices and their impact on the world around us. As you reflect on your own life, consider this: are you actively creating meaning, or are you waiting for it to appear? Are you taking responsibility for shaping your life, or are you allowing circumstances to dictate your path? Frankl's wisdom reminds us that we have the power to choose. We have the ability to make meaning in each moment, but it starts with accepting the responsibility to do so. In the next part, we'll explore the profound realization that once we understand the fluidity of meaning, we can begin to unlock our true potential. By embracing the constant creation of meaning, we break free from the fear that holds us back and step into a life filled with purpose. 9. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. By now, we've explored Viktor Frankl's teachings on how to create meaning in life, despite suffering, responsibility, and the fear that often holds us back. But there is still one crucial element that we must understand in order to truly live with purpose. The responsibility to create meaning is ours alone. This is where Frankl's insights truly challenge us. The biggest obstacle to living a meaningful life is not the absence of meaning, but our reluctance to take responsibility for it. Frankl believed that the majority of people live in a state of denial about their power to create meaning. They passively wait for it to appear, hoping that the right moment, the right circumstance, or the right experience will finally bring them purpose. But the truth is, meaning doesn't just show up. It's something we must actively create. Many of us struggle to take full responsibility for our lives because we're afraid. Afraid of the challenge, afraid of the unknown, afraid of making mistakes. It's easier to blame our past, our environment, or our circumstances for our lack of meaning. But Frankl's message is clear. You are the one responsible for finding and creating your purpose. It's easy to make excuses, but this is where the power lies when we stop blaming others and take ownership of our lives. we unlock our true potential. Frankl's discovery teaches us that meaning is not something that is handed to us. It is something that we earn through our choices, actions, and mindset. And that responsibility can feel daunting. It's easier to live in the comfort of distractions, to numb ourselves with entertainment or work, than to face the profound question, what am I doing with my life? But once we face that question, once we take responsibility for our lives and our choices, we begin to see that meaning is not elusive. It is ours to create every single day in the way we choose to live. Now, ask yourself, what is one small action I can take today to begin creating meaning in my life? It doesn't have to be a big step. It could be as simple as having a conversation with someone you care about, or setting aside time for a meaningful project you've been putting off. Every moment holds the potential to create meaning, but you have to take the first step. In the final part, we will uncover the last and most profound realization that the responsibility of creating meaning is not just a heavy burden, it is the greatest freedom we have. Once we embrace this freedom, we will see that meaning is not something we search for, but something we become. Stay with us, and let's discover how to unlock this ultimate power together. 10. The man who discovered the meaning of life, Viktor Frankl's journey to understanding purpose. We have now come to the final revelation, the one that ties everything together. The responsibility of creating meaning is not just a heavy burden, it is the greatest freedom we have. Viktor Frankl's life and philosophy show us that meaning is not something we stumble upon, but something we actively create in every moment. This is where most people go wrong. They think that meaning is a destination they will reach someday. They believe that once they find their true purpose, everything will fall into place. But Frankl's insight was that meaning isn't a fixed point, it's a continuous process. It's something we must renew every day, in every choice we make. When we accept the responsibility of creating meaning, we unlock a kind of freedom that no circumstance, no suffering, no external force can take away. It's the freedom to live with intention, to make our lives count, to turn every moment into an opportunity for growth and purpose. Frankl discovered this freedom in the concentration camps, where he had nothing but his ability to choose his response. And it was that response, his commitment to creating meaning, that allowed him to survive. Now, reflect on this. You have the power to choose meaning in your life. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment, the perfect circumstances, or even the perfect answer. Meaning is created in the choices you make right now. The work you do, the love you give, the way you handle your suffering. These are the building blocks of a meaningful life. So, I ask you, what meaning will you create today? What choices will you make to live with purpose and intention? The freedom to create meaning is yours, and it's available to you at every moment. It's time to step into that freedom and begin the journey of living a life that is truly meaningful. If you found this message powerful, take a moment now to reflect and share your thoughts with us. Don't let the opportunity slip by. What small action can you take today to start shaping a life of purpose? Subscribe, share, and comment below. And remember, you are the author of your own meaning.